So these are all 2'6", so these will work for window headers and sills. Looks like there's a bunch of them in here.
Today is an exciting day for us because we're beginning the fourth and final lower wall of our house. And I wouldn't be shocked if this wall goes at least twice as slow as the other walls. So what makes this wall challenging is that we basically have to stick frame our window and our door openings. The manufacturer actually really wanted us to stick frame pretty much our entire house, including lumber between every single panel, and we were like, if we do that, what the heck is the point of SIPs? Because we're gonna have thermal bridges pretty much everywhere. However, the people we're working with, they don't typically design SIPs for timber frame homes because the timber frame is supporting the structure. They typically design all SIP homes, so they do need to basically stick frame the entire house. They were okay with us removing the lumber on the walls we have up so far, but not on the south wall, partially because the upper gable of the south wall has so many windows in it that it's really not a bad idea to include the extra lumber for support.
Yeah, there's not much to the south wall. We're pretty much building a glass house on the south wall. When we get those window openings in the gable, we're gonna be like,
they're gonna be so massive.
They're 8 feet tall.
7.
They're 7 feet tall?
Only 7.
So they're as high as a door. So they're basically doors that don't open.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I think the south wall is gonna look really lean, just like the garage does. There's really not much to it. It's mostly door.
So just to show you what we're up against, this is the order we're gonna have to install the panels. Starting at the west side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna have to slide that header panel in, and then we're gonna need a king stud going all the way up here. We're gonna need a jack stud, which is gonna come up here. There'll be a header over this window, and then we're gonna have a cripple stud, jack stud, king stud. That's a lot of lumber, yo. Rinse and repeat for this set of French doors, this window, this set of French doors, and this window. On top of that, this is where things get a little bit more confusing. So they give us the overall panel height dimension, but that is not the dimension of our lumber because we have an 1.5 inch inlet up here for the upper SIP shoe. We have an 1.5 inch inlet down here for the lower SIP shoe. And then, if you remember from our previous videos, we're actually gonna install another SIP shoe that's not in the plans, that's gonna tie the south wall with the rest of the foundation, because as it is now, it's kind of freestanding and we don't really like that. So basically, if we put a second SIP shoe, all we need to do is use our hot knife to recess the foam another 1.5 inch, which will give us a 3-inch inlet on the bottom. For our king studs, for example, this measurement is gonna change and it's gonna decrease by 4.5 inches. And we have to do that math for our jack studs, our lower cripple studs, and our upper cripple studs. We also have to think about the order to put the panels in and which studs to screw and glue to which studs. And basically all these upper shorty panels are gonna slide in on top. That's why we have to kind of install them in this order. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You get the idea. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of work, we'll probably get a few panels ready and then we're gonna use that baby to lift them up. And then we think we're gonna use ropes and ingenuity to get the panels up. The good news is that because we have so much glass, all the panels are relatively small. I think we only have one full-size panel in the whole wall. So we're gonna see how far we can get on that.
Yeah, and the header and sill panels for the doors and windows don't have any lumber in them. So that makes that even easier. When we were doing it the other day, we had a couple of guys helping, so that was good. But yeah, with Alyssa and I, it's just gonna be the two of us. So thankfully, we can hopefully do those small panels together. Did you eat your Wheaties?
I had eggs and veggies.
That'll work.
Oh yeah, there's one more thing that complicates this wall. We haven't really talked about electrical and our electrical chases, but you basically have to know where your wiring is going to go in your lighting in a SIP house before you finalize your plans, which was one thing that made our order more complicated because we weren't ready to plan that out yet. So we have our standard electrical outlet heights, but then we had to figure out, well, what about lighting? We believe that we want exterior lighting on both set of French doors, and then we also want an interior light switch. I believe we have vertical chases for electrical in this panel and this panel, and then we asked for an electrical chase in the header panel. But when we're putting our panels together, we need to make sure that the chases line up. And it gets confusing on these upper header panels because that is not 50% of the way. So there is a top and a bottom of these panels. So you have to look at it, measure, and compare to the other panels surrounding it.
Well, that looks a lot better. So we don't love the idea of hot knifing pretty much every single panel, but it seems in our experience that the foam inlets for everything really are not consistent. In all fairness, our lumber is not consistent either. You can see that this one board inside's got a bit of cup to it. What we did was we hot knifed that to a consistent 3 1/4 because we can. And what we've noticed is that the depth of that foam varies all the way down. We have an inch of extra built into this wall, but that doesn't mean that we want to use it. I think we just really want things to go smoothly. So we're willing to take the time early and make the necessary corrections to get the lumber to fit right. What's deceptive about the foam is while it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, it does not take very much pressure from that foam to push a board out. Even if there's a little hump in it somewhere, it'll just make your life difficult. And even like a bar clamp has a hard time sucking against all that foam. So we found it's easier to just hot knife a little bit deep and then bring your lumber flush, and everything works out pretty good. It's really a completely different phase of this project, but that is the foaming of everything. We feel like that's going to be a really intense project because in order to get the quality of seal that we expect from the SIPs, a lot of this kind of excess fitment stuff that we're doing is really creating a problem. We're creating air gaps behind everything. The manufacturer says just to put a bead of foam behind this lumber, to which we say, nah, we're gonna follow Shelter's guidance just like we did up here, and we'll probably end up drilling through and filling behind a lot of this lumber with foam after it's installed. That way there's no chance that the seal will be broken. Oh yeah, looking good. Got it?
Yeah, Jesse suggested doing like cutting everything to length and then fitting everything. Instead of going panel by panel, go task by task. And my thinking is that there's so much like custom fitting and finagling that it's almost like if you're really deep mentally and getting this side to fit, just see it all the way through, at least until it's screwed. That way you're not having to like remember how it fit or whatever.
We found that a lot of times early in a project, we kind of overthink things and try to strategize a little too much. And instead, we just kind of start working now, find a system that works, and eventually it kind of works itself out. When we've had help on site, one, we respect other people's time a lot, and we want to make sure that we're as productive as we can be while they're here. In most people's case, they travel a long way to help us. So we work really hard early in the day to try to create a system, and then we write it on the board. That way everybody kind of knows the system, and everybody kind of has a task assigned to them. When it's Alyssa and I, we're more flexible, I guess, and we can have more discretion in how we go through things. So we'll try this, see what happens, and hopefully through this first door, we'll get a lot of the bugs worked out so that the rest of the wall will go smoother.
Today's smoothie, do you want to guess?
Pina colada.
Raspberry huckleberry.
Raspberry huckleberry, what?
I have to say, it's not my combination of choice, but there's really no such thing as a bad smoothie.
Motivation, fuel to get one panel done. This one's about ready to go up, I think. Just need to finish these screws, and I think we need to put a cripple over there. Oh yeah, we gotta put the timber lags in. Okay, it's not ready, never mind.
That looks like it's a lot of screws. It's cause there's a lot of screws. Hear a lot of adult language and grumbling over here.
Yeah, fun. I have to say that if we had to do lumber splines in the whole house,
oh my god,
I would make me grumpy just thinking about it.
What the heck? When we put this lumber on, we actually cover up our electrical chases. So these are for the lower wall outlets, and this needs to be continuous. So we gotta play chase roulette.
Yep.
Not nearly as bad as concrete roulette.
Not nearly as bad.
I lost. I would never play real roulette. We didn't have this problem on these walls because there were no lumber splines. So our chases are continuous. Reason 854 why this wall isn't gonna be fun. Wow, freaking sucks. Wow.
Probably hitting a screw.
Don't think so. If you want to earn brownie points, don't do that to your honey.
Don't do what?
What I just did. Make your life look really hard.
Oh, that's good.
Sweet. Guess who I caught napping in the house today for his afternoon nap? Bugaboo. Oh no, that's not an invitation to be pet. Mom's working. Oh, he found me. Don't make eye contact. Oh, he's coming. Oh goodness.
What is that?
Cackleberries.
Holy cow, those
Duh,
are pretty.
right?
Open them so you can get a real color of them.
Hold on. Those are beautiful.
Now you hold them.
My goodness.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
But we have a
welcome.
special present for Wayne, if he
Yes,
wants
we
it.
do.
I think he'll probably turn us down, but we'll ask him anyway.
Do you remember those rum raisins that you tried?
Yeah?
Do you want to try the ice cream?
Sure.
We made it
Oh.
last night. It's pretty good.
It's so good.
It's perfect, and it has just the right amount of zing to it.
Good.
Well, the ice cream disappeared, so I think
Yeah.
the verdict is
It's good.
it's a win. Sure is thinking about raining.
It's been thinking all day.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna.
It's It's kind of like exercise. Like I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it so hard.
Yep.
And I'm still thinking about it.
Yep. I think I'm going to shift gears
Okay.
to getting the shoe up here so that we're ready to hook onto these panels. You've definitely got your work lined out for you. I'll probably jump back and help you. But these are all cut. This is the cripple for the window and for the French door. Then comes the hard part of getting these big guys up to the house. But let's deal with that when we get there. What we're learning for sure is that we need to hot knife these panels. Our lumber is actually pretty doggone consistent, but for some reason this chase in here just doesn't work. There's anywhere from 3 1/4 to 2 3/4, and we don't know how to work with that, so we're just using the hot knife and making sure that we're not encroaching on the rough openings for our windows and doors. One thing that we've learned is that you don't always know how an issue in one phase is going to bite you in the butt in another phase. One thing that pops to mind is this. We had the concrete wall, the ICF wall. After we poured it, we went around and checked it for level, and by some dumb luck, we managed to achieve a pretty stinking level concrete wall. But there was that question about whether one spot was high or not, and we weren't quite sure because our laser level is not quite that accurate. So we kind of just left it. We took a little bit off and left it. And then we went to put the frame up, and the frame wouldn't go together because there was a high spot right where we thought there was a high spot. So it took a couple of months for that issue to manifest itself. So we're trying to be a little cautious with these because we don't know that much about windows and doors or how to install them. Even though we've got rough opening sizes from the manufacturer, we just want to make sure that we're not making them too small by using fat lumber.
Oh yeah. Oh, that one. It's starting to rain and it's getting pretty late. Dark's gonna set in before too long, and we're kind of deciding what to do next. Our gut tells us to quit. We don't think it's a good idea to start installing the panels at night, just the two of us with a backhoe in the rain, right? But on the other hand, because this is, wow, I got stuff in my eye. On the other hand, because this is a new wall for us and none of this mastic is 100% set yet, we kind of want to test it, because what if we made some really big mistake that's hard to fix once the mastic cures or dries or whatever. So we thought we'd go somewhere in between. Jesse's gonna see if he can lift a panel up with a backhoe. Just that, and if it looks like it's easy to raise, we might do it and just kind of go from there. We're gonna try to be safe and listen to our gut, but on the other hand, I don't know. And I'm hurrying, trying to get this panel done This panel is the last one we're gonna prep tonight, so that's for dang sure. Well, we tried it and our decision has been made for us. Is it possible to lift those panels up on the south wall with a backhoe? Oh, anything's possible, but not tonight, not right now, not with me being the panel handler. In the end, we figure it's really affordable to rent the Gradall. We can probably rent it for a day, maybe even an afternoon. It's gonna be safer, more predictable, quicker, etc., etc. So we're happy we tried it. Now we won't be wondering what could have been. On that note, we think we're just gonna call it a night here. We're not gonna get a trophy for finishing up one more panel. We have a lot of cleanup to do. Jesse is gonna finish installing the shoe. But you know what? You guys can catch us tomorrow. I have to go stoke the hot tub. I have to make dinner, and we're definitely gonna soak tonight. Thanks for your work today, love.
Yeah, you too. Good job.
As I was wrangling this panel up there, I noticed that the SIP was smiling at me, and I thought, oh, this is gonna go really well. On second thought, I realized, you know what? It's probably a smirk. Now I'm positive it's a smirk.